Mustard Knuckle.
Hello everybody, Mustard Knuckle back again. It's the end of Sherman week. This is it. M4A3E2 76mm version. So, basically a jumbo with the 76mm gun. Going to history on this thing. How did this thing even come about? The gameplay, obviously. Let's see here. Look good to me. Gameplay, any tips that I can think of along the way, we'll talk about that kind of stuff. If you like it, subscribe, please. Turn on notifications, and you won't miss any more. Do 3 to 4 a week, history, gameplay every single time. Any tips that come up in those games as well. A KV-1 and a Sherman over here. Good, got the Sherman, that's good. M4A2, which we talked about already. He bounced a shot off of our front plate there, which is good for us because we've got the extra armor on the front of there, and we got the extra armor on front of the turret. What we got to be careful about is showing them this front corner just past these rocks. That's where they can hit the ammo, and that's an easy kill on the side there. So the front of this is great, sides are terrible, standard Sherman deal on the sides, except the turret and the front plate there. You got much more protection. I'm going to use the binoculars because I can't see if I just go into the scope view. I can't see. But now there's a Nashorn pointing right at us, so I'm not pulling out because he'll kill us. So he's just waiting. So I figure I'll shoot this airplane for a minute, and hopefully an airplane will come up for us. If we can get in an airplane, then we can take that thing out. It's basically just a Dicker Max. So M4A3E2, we all know the jumbo. Do we know also that nobody actually called it the jumbo until people started calling it that after the war? I did find out M4A3E stands for experimental. So the deal was with this that they started messing around with putting extra armor on the M4A3 and discovered, like, oh, it's okay. You know, they did limited testing with it and found that it did all right. Let's see if we can get this guy. It'd be nice. All right, cool. He's gone now. So now we know when we get back into our tank that we don't have to worry about him anymore. So we just got to worry about that KV-1 if he's still there. So we will continue to go after them. Oh, I saw this guy on the way over. Yeah, I could have gotten him earlier before he saw me. Probably would have been better to go for him while he was shooting at somebody else, but that's alright. So, they said, we want to see about putting extra armor. So they did, you know, some testing with it, and it turned out okay. So they said, okay, we're going to produce this thing. The turret on this, which I mentioned in one of my other jumbo videos, was designed for a 75mm gun, but it was capable of a 76, and it also weighed over 20,000 pounds, just the turret shell without a gun or anything. Nice, I'll take that. He turned his turret just enough to let that thing go in. That was pretty lucky. Oh, now talk about lucky. Half a mile shot on a Tiger. If he would have been angled in any way, that round would not have penned at that distance. We just got lucky that he was facing right at us and managed to hit the one place on that front plate, that vertical front plate, where we could actually do something with him. That works. Holy cow. Yeah, that's very lucky. So, otherwise we've just been taking shots at him and he wouldn't have maybe given us that angle straight on. I mean, on that Tiger, if you're in one, it's just a slight angle is all it takes to make these rounds deflect, or bounce, or whatever, ricochet, whatever you want to call it. So back to this jumbo. So that turret just by itself weighs 20,000 pounds. They added 5,000 pounds of armor to the front plate, and it ended up weighing 80 something thousand pounds, mid to high 80s. In the thousands of pounds. So it was significantly heavier than a normal one. So to get the ground footprint they wanted, as far as the pressure on the ground, so it didn't just sink like the other Shermans can with their narrow tracks, they widened them out. And you can see those right now on the edge of the tracks. There's those little extensions. So that reduced the ground pressure to the normal amount of most other tanks. It was a little higher, but it was just basically the normal amount. So this thing was always designated experimental. Anything with an E in it was designated as an experimental tank, which I thought was interesting. These all had the Ford V8, and that was essentially the extent of the differences between the jumbo and a regular one, was the turret, the front plate, and now we get to the 76mm version, which was not very many. Oh boy. See if we can get him before we burn up. I think we got him. Don't want to ram him. I mean, you know, sportsman, right? I've rammed people before, but not today. So, the turret, like I said, was a 75mm turret capable of 76. So when they started producing these, the military just said, go for it, make them, take care of it, start building them. They're experimental, you know, whatever. Oh, side shot. Here we go. Come on. Ah, just enough of an... I mean, even on the side, just enough of an angle to get a ricochet. It's very annoying. It'd be a lot easier if you just would drive straight and not do that. But, alright, there's a comet up there too. Okay, so same problem. We got to try not to expose the side of the tank. We got to keep that angle on that front plate so when we pull out, it's just a nice little deflection off of there. For most things, that's the way it'll end up. So again, on the production here, they just basically told the Fisher company to go ahead and start making them. So they did. The 76mm version was actually something that was done in the field. They would take these things and they would find a Sherman that had been knocked out that had a 76mm cannon on it. They could replace it in the field. Well, not in the field, but they could replace it. Oh, did my shell hit him? I don't know if my shell hit him or I think I might have got the pilot. It would have been cool if the shell hit it, but maybe not. Let's see, there's another assist, so that's nice. Alright, here we go with the little jet action. Okay, so now let's do a jet against the B-24, see how that turns out. And... well, that's that. Alright, cool. Well, they got him. So the same thing happened to that guy that happened to me earlier. The transfer of these guns... there's nothing out here that I can get. I'm trying to see if there's anything I can kill. The switching of the guns, they could do that like at a, I guess at a depot. In the field is the wrong term, but they got to pull a turret off, and then they could replace that gun with one from a knocked out Sherman, or say, thought that was close, and it would be quickly done. Or well, relatively quickly. It was like 80 hours or something of work. So if you had a crew of 4 guys, it's a couple, 3 days or so, and off you go. But I thought that was interesting because I thought that swapping out a cannon, I didn't really see that as something that would be done other than in the factory. So I thought it was pretty cool, again, with the ingenuity of these guys, like we talked about in yesterday's video, you know, making modifications to these things. I guess, you know, that was another benefit of the Sherman, is that these guys were so familiar with it that they knew already, like, okay, this is the size, this is what fits, this is what we can do, you know, all that stuff just allowed so many options. Let's see if we can get this guy. There we go. To make these modifications, which I thought was fantastic. Alright, my guys are moving up. I think I'm gonna... oh, they're gonna move up right behind that guy. Alright, cool. So that's a good move, and we've got the point. We got the point pretty late. This is a good game. We made a pretty big comeback here. Mostly probably because of my long distance shooting. Now that's another thing about the... now you can run in a regular jumbo at that lower tier. You can run in, but at the higher tier with one of these things, this armor still, it's okay, but it doesn't mean much against a sabot round or something off of one of these other tanks. They can pen it. A Tiger can get you still, which was kind of the point of this thing in the beginning, was they knew they needed more armor for the Tigers and Panthers and things like that. And that's what led to the development of this in the first place. Now, along with that development, they recognized that with all this extra weight, you weren't going to be able to do the same thing with this that you could do with a normal Sherman as far as reliability. They knew with this extra weight that it was going to wear things out faster. So this was intended, rather than the normal Sherman where you could drive it for thousands of miles with minimal maintenance or minimal breakdowns, let's say. This one most likely was going to have breakdowns, and they knew that. So the plan was to get them where they needed to be, kind of stage them, I guess, and then drive them for, a few hundred miles, 400 to 800 miles probably, something like that. Do the job, go in, knock it out, and be done with it, and then, get on with, go back out, do the maintenance, and get it ready to go again, rather than just being these long-range runs like the other Shermans were capable of doing. So hope you guys enjoyed Sherman Week. We covered pretty much all the 76mm versions this time, except for that first one. And we'll do another week of something else in the future. So subscribe, turn on those notifications so you don't miss them. Hope you enjoyed this one. Good luck, have fun, and we'll see you in the next one.